Good morning. My name is Mike Clark. I'm the Washoe County Assessor. This is the second term that I'm currently in. I was elected initially in 2014. I ran against an incumbent, been there for about 26 years, and then I ran again for re-election 4 years later, and I'm in my third year of that term. On both occasions after getting elected, I swore an oath. I swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution from foreign and domestic people that are not interested in protecting our rights. So I truly took that oath to heart, and I want to protect the people. I work for the citizens of Washoe County. The citizens, whether they voted for me or not, they're the folks that I want to work for. I don't work for the county commissioners. I don't work for the county. I work for the public. And that's how I've always taken my job. If something needs to be brought to the attention of the public, I want to bring that to their attention. Assessor is just a fancy word for appraiser. An appraiser is just somebody who goes out and gives their opinion at a particular point in time. So an appraiser just gives an opinion. And in this case, I want to give an opinion about some things that have happened, that I've seen, that I've witnessed myself, and I think the public needs to know about this. Whether you're, this is a nonpartisan issue as far as I'm concerned. Everybody in Washoe County is affected by what happens with the county commissioners and other folks that are in charge, the other elected officials. So, you know, in the early spring, somebody delivered a packet of papers to my desk, and I read it. I found it interesting. I wanted to share it with other people, other elected people, other influencers in the county, and I made 162 packages, and I sent them out. I initially did this anonymously. I wish at this point in time I wouldn't have done it anonymously, but I did it anonymously because I've been a polarizing factor at the county. People at the county are many times unhappy with anything I say. So I wanted this message to go out. I didn't want to be a lightning rod. I didn't want to be polarizing this information. I just wanted it to go out. And so I made copies and I sent it out anonymously. And that's why it really backfired. Instead of focusing on what's in the package, all court documents, all court papers, letters from attorneys back and forth, the attorney letters had appeared or reports of that in the newspaper, so everything was public knowledge. I wanted people to focus on that, and what happened was everybody was so focused on who sent it out that hardly anybody took the time to read the package. The package has got some very, what I think are serious things that need to be brought to people's attention. That's why I took the time, the money, and the effort on my own time, my own dime to mail this out. And it's backfired. The county and certain members of the county don't want this information out, even though it's public record. You know, public record, the public should be able to print and copy and mail and review and discuss and dissect any public record that's out there. That's the whole point of having the public record. We've got court reporters. We've got the assessor's office keeps records. The county clerk keeps records. The recorder keeps records. The city clerk. Anytime you go to any type of a meeting, somebody's keeping records in meetings. Anytime you go to court, people are keeping records. The newspapers, they have archives where they keep information. People want to go back and research what took place. Why did this happen? Is there a pattern here? Why is this important? It's important because people can't remember everything. People get busy with their lives and move on, and sometimes when things happen in the past, they need to be reviewed and compared to what's happening now. So I thought it was important enough that I sent it out to the governor. I sent it out to lots of people, 162 important folks, elected, many were in county employees, people that were influencers, and I wanted them to read this without the cloud of the Mike Clark name over it. So I sent that initially just so people could read what I read, and if they found it interesting, maybe they could start asking some questions. The packages were not delivered. The county received some of theirs first. They intercepted them. They went to the mailroom and intercepted them. Somehow or another, the county commission chair, Bob Lucy, was worried about this information getting out. Somehow or another, he was able to convince the county manager that there might be a threat here, even though, again, it was all public record. The county manager then contacted the sheriff. Again, this is all in court records, everything I'm going to tell you. You can look it up and review it yourself and verify it, do your own fact checking. So then the county manager, he contacts the sheriff. The sheriff is convinced by the commissioner and the county manager that there might be a threat here. Somehow or another, the sheriff gets in touch with the folks, the postal inspector, and convinces him it might be something in there might be scary, or something might be a threat, or something might be threatening. And without a court order, without a warrant, or without a court order, the postal inspector took it upon himself to confiscate the mail. I believe they're still sitting on it. It wasn't delivered. Some of these packages got through. I don't know exactly how many of them that they've captured, but they've got those packages. And again, there was once, again, in the court records, the transcript, the postal inspector, the sheriff, the county manager all admitted under oath that they didn't find a threat there. The only threat that there was there is certain folks didn't want these public records public. Public records become threatening when they're shared with the public. Well, they say that in the temporary restraining order, the application for temporary restraining order. They opened the packages, they counted the packages, they counted the individual sheets of paper in each package, and kept them from being delivered. The sheriff again reached out through the postal inspector, who again was brought to the sheriff's attention by the county manager. Everybody was running around worried about the threat. Well, if they'd have taken the time to read them, and they did open them and count them, they would see that there was no threat, other than that they didn't want this information out. They were trying to keep me from sharing information with other citizens. The next step that happened was I got a notice that they'd applied for a temporary restraining order to keep me away from certain county employees, because just the very fact that I'd mailed out public records had threatened someone. This assistant county manager, she swears on her in the temporary restraining order that she'd never seen this particular picture before. She didn't know where it had come from. She'd never given it out to anybody, and she tells the assistant district attorney that was true. The assistant district attorney signed the temporary restraining order under penalty of perjury, that everything was true and correct. Well, nothing could be further than the truth. Absolute lie on Kate Thomas's part. Kate Thomas said she'd never seen the picture before, didn't know where it come from, and that was the main basis for them getting this restraining order. And the document, I'm not showing it to show if anything, but it clearly says exhibit at the top.
Yeah.
Why didn't the judge ask what it was an exhibit from? Why didn't Mary Canderas, the deputy district attorney, ask what that was from? Why did they go as far as they could to avoid asking that question? If somebody would have asked that question, they would realize that Ms. Thomas wasn't telling the truth in her restraining order. It had been in a court case before. It had been taken by her mother. It had been distributed to her co-workers, and it had been out there for some time. This was nothing new. She acted like she'd never seen it before, and when she said she'd never seen it before, she was not telling the truth. Some people could say that was a lie, but let's just keep it as calm as we can and say she wasn't telling the truth. Then she went so far, and when she was questioned In the court case, she again said that everything was true and correct to the best of her knowledge in the temporary restraining order. Later on in the court case, when she was questioned, she admitted finally under oath that her mother had taken the picture, number one. Number two, she had given it out to co-workers at the city of Reno. She did know that it had been in a court case before. So the whole concept of her not knowing where this picture came from, this mysterious picture, was an absolute falsehood. It was incorrect, it was inaccurate, it was wrong, and it was a lie. And she did that simply to get a restraining order against me for passing out, mailing, distributing public information. Every time my attorney wanted to bring up anything whatsoever, the other side objected to, and the judge instantly sustained their objection. The judge didn't allow us to talk about anything, didn't allow any witnesses to be brought forth. In fact, you almost wonder if the judge knows even what's in the restraining order, because if he had have read the restraining order and her swearing that she didn't know where it came from and didn't know how it got out in the public arena and how I got a hold of it, and yet with his own ears hears her telling the story that her mother did take the picture, that she did pass it out to coworkers, that it was an exhibit in a court case before. Again, everything I mailed out was court papers or something that had been in court records. There wasn't a single word of mine in this package whatsoever. It was taking public information and sharing it with others. She swore under penalty of perjury on this temporary restraining order that she was telling the truth. She told the story initially when she was being questioned at the trial. I've got the transcript right here, that everything that she put on the temporary restraining order was correct. And then within 2 or 3 minutes, she told us the truth, finally, that her mother had taken the picture. She'd passed it around, had been in a court case, others had seen it, and why didn't the judge hear that? What I really want to share with folks is the whole concept of what took place there. I'm trying to share public records, and they're trying to humiliate me for doing that. They're trying to crush me for doing that. This is like a classic case of a magician. They start doing something over here to distract you. It's a distraction. They don't want you to know what they're doing, this illusion. They distract you, they distort what you're thinking. They're coming after me to make it look like I'm the villain, to take away the focus from themselves. They don't want people to know what they're doing, so they're trying to make it look like I've done something wrong. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm very proud of what I've done. I'm not a coward. I'm not afraid of speaking the truth. And I know the difference between camouflage and transparency. The folks at the county are very much about camouflaging everything, and I'm very much about the public having access to all the information so they can make accurate decisions with the true facts. And I don't want to camouflage anything. The county wants to camouflage everything. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure every citizen, doesn't matter which party they're in, what their political affiliations are, they need to understand what's taking place. The county, on the other hand, is doing everything they can to quiet me down and not want me to share this information, and rightfully so. Their position is to keep the public uninformed, and my job in my personal life is to share information with people and let them make their own decisions. I'm not telling anybody what to think. I'm not accusing anyone of anything other than what I see and what my opinion is, and the facts remain. The facts remain. Take a look at these papers. They're going to be available. We'll have a website. We'll have places where you can click on and read it for yourself. Make your own decision. See if the county is trying to prevent you from knowing information. This is so far beyond me now. It has little or nothing to do with me. It has to do with the public. Does the public have the right to review public documents? Why call it a public document if the public gets persecuted for sending it or receiving it or reading it. There's something on each and every page that brings into question the competency of this. And it isn't me saying it. I've never worked with her. I don't know if she's competent or incompetent. But the folks who've worked with her at the city said that she wasn't. And so read their own words. But when you've got somebody who's in charge of the budget programs and doesn't understand what's taking place, that should be of concern. And again, that isn't me saying it, it's in the public records. When we've got somebody who's in charge of the homeless situation in the city of Reno, and they talk disparagingly about the homeless and wish they weren't here, and some other very nasty things that they say, and then come to find out that person gets a promotion to the county and now she's in charge of the homeless at the county. And when they sit around as a group and they make very, very derogatory comments about the homeless, you wonder, well, I mean, she's entitled to her opinion, but why have that person be in charge of the homeless people if she has a very disapproving view of those folks? So it's just questions. I mean, everyone should be asking questions, not trying to stifle questions. Should be asking questions, and the county's doing everything they can to keep the public from asking questions, and there's a reason for that. I've talked to literally hundreds of people that are very concerned about this, and those folks will be coming forward. We've got folks that have made public statements. We've got people who have made statements on the record. We've got people who have made notarized declarations and statements. People that they're a higher level of government than I am, and they understand what's taking place, and the rest of the government seems to be wanting to keep them quiet and discounting what they have to say. This is about trying to humiliate me, trying to make me look bad, and all I did was pass out public records. They don't like that. They're trying to silence me. When they're silencing me, they're really trying to silence the people. They're really trying to silence you, because I'll have a voice, but the voice of my voice trying to silence me, it's not going to happen. I'll be able to talk, but what they're really trying to do is prevent the public from seeing what I've seen and making intelligent decisions. If the public took a chance or took the time and read this information, they would know the right thing to do. And I don't care what political party you're in. This is not a partisan issue. This is about certain elected officials sitting in office today who don't want the public to know things about their past. They don't want the public record to be public record. You know, many times, they understand that not a lot of people study this. They understand not a lot of people go to county commissioners' meetings. They, quite frankly, don't want people to understand what the heck's going on. They don't want people to understand how the sausages are being made. They want to keep you in the dark. They want to make decisions that maybe are not in your best interest. If you understood what was really happening, you might press them to do something differently, and they don't like that idea. They don't want it. They think that they think for you. And what they're really doing is trying to keep you from knowing what they're up to. There's a lot of mischief going on at the county, and they don't want you to know about it. And I think you should know about it.